Alright, here we go, the 9th day. I got the mask on, coming to you from the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic in the United States, which happens to be here in New York City. Yesterday, and of course you know why I'm wearing this mask, I say it every time I make a video now, this is for posterity, because one day, hopefully soon, we're going to be able to look back on this and remember this ordeal that we all went through. Yesterday, in New York City, 565 people died. That was double from the day before. The state of New York has over 100,000 confirmed cases, and New York City has more than half of those cases. All right, got that out of the way. Wow, we got some crazy stuff to talk about, man. Crazy stuff to talk about. First of all, and it involves the banking data, you know, that comes out every Friday. I'm like Johnny on the spot. As soon as that thing comes out, I am on that, and I am, you know, parsing through all that data, and I'm going to give you some numbers. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. This is the second week of, I mean, that thing just is going bonkers, man. Bonkers. I got my notes over here on the side, so if I'm glancing over here on the side, I'm just going to be reading my notes. But first, before I get to that, market was down today. Now, I'm changing my tune a little bit. Look, folks, the economy is cratering. All right, we saw the job number today, down 700K. And the forecasts were like down for 100K. Nobody had, down 700,000 jobs lost in March. And this is just the beginning, okay? Now here's the thing. Now all of that, remember I gave you this big spiel about how the market discounts, and I believe in that. I believe we had a 34% drop in the market. In many respects, it was worse than the 1929 crash. So you have to believe that the market has discounted or now reflects the horrible environment. But then I said, remember I said, new developments have come into the picture. New variables. What were the new variables, or what was the new variable? It was the fiscal package, the stimulus package, which we're finding out now two things. Number one, it's all a bunch of loans. And by the way, let me just, as an aside, I don't know if you saw this in the news, but this is completely outrageous that the SBA loans, the Small Business Administration loans, which were originally legislated in that package, in that bill, at 0.5%, 0.5%, the interest rate, which first of all is outrageous. The loans, first of all, are outrageous. Nobody needs loans. We need money, all right? And not debt. They charge interest 0.5%. Okay, fine, it's not a lot. The banks were not happy with that because the banks are intermediaries with the government providing the loan. So what happened? Treasury doubled the rate to 1%. I mean, who are we helping here? Are we helping people, or are we helping the banks? I cannot believe this. Anyway, look, I could do a whole entire video on this. I could do 10 videos on this, but I'm not going to do it right now. I want to get to these numbers. Here's the thing. I said a new variable has entered the picture, which made me bullish down here, but that variable, it's like a freaking mirage. Where is it? There has been no increase in the fiscal flows. The fiscal flows right now are roughly equal to where they were at the same time last year. But last year we didn't have the whole entire economy shut down. We didn't have coronavirus. The fiscal flows, which is another term, it's a term I use for government spending, should be skyrocketing right now. It should be accelerating through the roof. It is not. It is flat. Flat. About the only thing that is rising right now is unemployment benefits. They're up 1.6 billion over last year. But 10 million people have filed for unemployment. That's like an average of $160 per person. What are you going to do with that? You're not going to, lift the economy back up on that. So the fiscal flows, the spending, just not there. I monitor this every day, as you know. And by the way, you really need to sign up. 30-day free trial for MMT Trader. And this is not a pitch. You need to know these numbers. I throw them out there all day long. And Fridays is a big day. I do the banking data. I do commercial positions in gold. And that's a whole other thing I could talk about. So the fiscal flows, every single day I'm putting those things out. Nothing. No increase. Nothing. We are at the same level of spending that produced a 2% growth rate last year. And now the economy has absolutely cratered and nothing. Nothing. No increase. No spending increase whatsoever. So the market cannot rise. And you know what? I'll say this. The only reason the market is kind of holding its own right now is because investors are giving the government the benefit of the doubt that this money is going to start to flow. But how long? You see the market starting to slip because no money has been forthcoming so far. And if it doesn't happen soon, like next week, if we don't see something by next week, we're going down to new lows and we're going to keep going down until that money starts to flow. Now, let me go over the banking data, which was crazy. And again, it has to do with really with the Fed's actions. Yesterday I talked about something's got to give. But here we go. Bank credit. I'm just glancing over here because this is where my notes are. Bank credit up 324 billion to 14.7 trillion. That's a new high. It was the biggest 1 week increase in 10 years. The growth rate now 10.7% year over year. That is the fastest growth in 12 years. Loans and leases in commercial banks up 257 billion. Loans have grown by 504 billion in the last 2 weeks. Now I'm going to tell you something about loans in a second. The growth rate now of loans is 9.8% year over year. That is the highest in 12 years. Now, here's what gained. Commercial and industrial loans. Those are the loans that big corporations go in for. Up 190 billion, up 365 billion in the last 2 weeks. So the big corporations are running to the banks to get credit and get loans to stay afloat. The growth rate, 16.7% year over year. That is the fastest in 12 years. Now listen to this. Consumer loans, like loans to me and you, regular people, took the biggest 1 week decline in 5 years. The banks are not lending to households, to people. They're lending to the corporations. The corporations are running to the banks, borrowing money like crazy to try to stay afloat. We get nothing. We get nothing, $160. Now, deposits. Remember, MMT explains loans create deposits. It's not the other way around like everybody thinks. Loans create deposits. Deposits up 124 billion, okay, to 14.2 trillion, a record high. And deposits have risen 420 billion in the last 2 weeks. Now, you know why? First of all, loans create deposits, but guess what? Because the Fed is buying all the treasuries in the world, those deposits of people, they got to sit in the banks and earn zilch, nothing, because the Fed is scooping up all the treasuries for itself. So there you have it. There you have the picture. Everything is going, by the way, another reason, go to my website. The link is down here below. Sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. I mean, you could cancel it. You got to see these numbers. You have to see these numbers, and you have to know what to do with these numbers. It's fine to see them, and it's great. You can tell people you're informed, you're educated, you have knowledge, you gain understanding, you gain insight. That's how you elevate yourself. You elevate yourself as a person. You elevate yourself in your life. All right? It brings things to you. It brings abundance to you. But also, you need to know how to act on these numbers. Crazy numbers, unbelievable. Everybody, remember, I'm here in the epicenter. Stay healthy, everybody. Stay healthy, stay well. I'll see you all on Monday. Hang in there. We're all in this together. We're going to get through it. We got to fight. No giving up. Bye.